Today we're doing the rest of Missouri on Route 66, from Springfield to the Kansas state line. I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV. Good morning. First impressions, this museum parking lot here in Springfield felt a little sketchy at the beginning. People coming in and out, and a lot of people on bicycles, and but to be honest, it was probably the quietest night we've had in an urban setting on the route. Today is very exciting because at some point we're gonna hit a new state, and that is gonna be Kansas. There's not a whole lot, there's not a long distance in Kansas, but there's a lot to do and see. And yeah, the third state on the road. I don't think I can reach with my seatbelt on. The journey continues. Here's an abandoned building. Let's check it out. Well, here we are. There is no traffic at all whatsoever on this road, Route 66. And this is technically ghost town, but I see houses, so it's not technically ghost town. This used to be a store in 1902. And, when I-44 bypassed Route 66, all this, became obsolete. Now we have trees growing inside it. Let me just take a quick peek and we continue. This used to be the Plano General Store, which used to host meetings, dances, and church services. Very historic, very abandoned. Let me tell you, I am very tempted to go in there and do some exploring. I am not gonna do it, but still very cool to see here on the side of the road. All right, let's continue. The road beckons. Now arriving at a village called Halltown. Population, about 100, and in decline. It was at one time known as Little Chicago and the antiques capital of the world. Let's park and do some exploring. Not much left here at the Halltown Trading Post. Oh well. It is unclear when all these stores went out of business, but I'm sure the construction of I-44 had something to do with it. We continue driving west on the splendid Missouri prairie. It is a pretty old stretch of road, and here on the right we have our next stop. Guess what? An old gas station. Here we have the huge shield in the middle of the road to prove where we are. And this is one of the better preserved gas stations here, roadside attraction on Route 66. Gay Parita in Gay Parita, Missouri. I said preserved, but in reality, as the sign says, recreated by Gary and Lena Turner in 2006. Can you imagine driving to the west in an old Ford and stopping here for gas? This is the site of what used to be a garage from the late 1920s, which burned to the ground in 1955. It used to be called Perry Springs Junction back then. In typical Route 66 roadside attraction fashion, they have all these antique vehicles parked here, evoking a different era, when the route was considered the main street of America.
Well, they have a small gift shop in there, but I didn't find oh, here we go.
They've got all kinds of relics and memorabilia, an old TV, lots of stuff. Got some tools up here, and the map of the route. Kind of busy, if you ask me.
Alright, let's check out this side here. An old police car. And it is really cool to read the guest list, the people who came before you, because most people are from overseas. 6-speed special, huh?
That looks complicated to drive. Here we have, I don't know what this is, but I like the stone facade.
My grandmother had one of these.
Oh, it looks like they have like a restaurant or cafeteria back here. Cool. It is a pretty large property, larger than it looks from outside.
Yeah, I think out of all the roadside attractions we've seen on the route, this one is like one of the coolest as far as, the collection of antiques they've got in there. And I think the owner just woke up. Anyway, we continue on Route 66. We're certainly getting our kicks today.
Now crossing the 1923 Spencer Bridge. Here we are arriving at the Spencer Station from 1925.
Well, here we have yet another roadside attraction. This is the Spencer Station. And by the way, that bridge we just crossed, that's an old bridge back there. Anyway, this used to be a barber shop and a gas station and another one of those stops. It kind of reminds me of the stops on the Alaska Highway, which are kind of, they have a hotel, gas station, shop, restaurant, RV park. So I would imagine at some of these stops, you would do everything, right? Be able to, Spencer Garage, you could even fix your car. Beautiful weather today. It is gonna get hot though. Let's read the description here on the roadside attraction sign.
Yeah, in 1925, one Sidney Casey bought what had become a ghost town and turned it into this. Of course, eventually it got bypassed and went out of business as well.
Feed and seed store here.
This current reconstruction dates back to 2011.
Too bad they're closed.
Look at this old narrow concrete slab we're driving on. Not for the faint of heart. I wouldn't drive a big rig on it.
This stretch here after that second gas station, this is an old section of the road. Now we're gonna join the whatever highway this is. No, they don't even have like a junction sign. Nada, ¿eh?
Nada.
Our next stop is a little bit of a detour from the route, but I've heard it is totally worth it. We are now on Supplemental Route UU. I always found this lettering system kind of confusing in Missouri, but it is their way. There it is called Hangar Café. They have an RV park, and it seems to be a pretty cool place. I don't remember how or when I heard about this, but we're the only ones here. Regardless, we're hungry, so let's have some breakfast.
Hangar Café from 1962.
They have a small car museum here, and they do skydiving and give agricultural aviation lessons. Tempted about the skydiving, but today we came for the food. 1962 Studebaker. Very cool. Always cool to see antique vehicles. Let's step inside. This is what it looks like inside. I like the decor. Let's sit here. They got all these airplanes hanging from the ceiling, and it seems to be a former real hangar here. Here's the breakfast menu. We're having some regular coffee, biscuits and gravy,
An omelette with hash browns, tomato, peppers, ham and cheese.
Since I noticed they had an RV park, I asked how much to dump the holding tanks and perhaps get some fresh water, and she said to go ahead and pull into one of the sites. So we're getting a free dump and water with our meal. I always try to avoid dumping right after eating, but I think I'll make an exception in this case.
Well, the Hangar Cafe, very nice, good food. And oh, look at that little airplane they're towing. And let me tell you, Midwestern hospitality, totally a thing. They allowed us to dump our tanks and get a little bit of water. And now we can boondog for one more night. I already have a harvest host. So we're gonna do one more harvest host. In Kansas.
We're arriving in Avilla, considered one of the 11 ghost towns of Route 66. While some businesses are still open, most have perished. And the most important building here is probably the post office. Here we have a mural and the post office, originally built as a bank in 1915. We continue on the Mother Road. We're going to refuel at the most appropriately named one-stop Route 66 station. It would seem everybody just slaps a Route 66 sign in front of their store along the route. It seems to be good business. Our next stop is actually quite unique. It is about a mile detour as we approach a town called Carthage. As the story goes, this was created by artist Lowell Davis, who was born and raised about 20 miles north of here at a town called Red Oak. When he returned as an adult, Red Oak had become a ghost town. So what did he do? He bought all the buildings and moved them here, to his family land. Well, this is it.
Well, this is called Red Oak, And it is a recreation of a 1930s town. And we're just in the outskirts of Carthage. And yeah, this is old Route 66. And there's a bunch of points of interest here in Carthage. But first, let's see this.
Well, here's the old Red Oak Town Hall.
We have a sign for the Red Oak Café, and we're just gonna walk around. There seems to be like an old gas station back there, and a church, and these lovely houses. I don't know if you can walk inside any of them. Check it out. It's like the little house on the prairie.
Even though there aren't any no trespassing signs, it is a private community, so we must be mindful of that, but there's no specific information about what you can or cannot do, or where you can go, so we'll just play it by ear. Here's the schoolhouse Davis attended, and the blacksmith shop where he used to hang out as a kid. And we have an interpretive sign, so let's get closer. You may pause to read if you'd like. The Red Oak General Store from 1921 moved here in 1988. Here's more information. Apparently, when Davis passed in 2020, he asked the residents to keep it going as an art community. And it does look like they're doing just that. Interesting.
I don't know if it is me, but today for the first time since we left, since we started on this trip, all of a sudden it smells like the prairie. I don't know if it is psychological. I know we're getting to Kansas, but that is beautiful out here. Beautiful weather too. Yeah, I was wondering how they monetize this place. There's donations.
And we're close to Route 66, so you have to have an old gas station, right? That's like an unwritten rule. Or maybe it is written somewhere. Who knows?
The plumber's nightmare. Yeah. Let's see what they did here.
Yep, that's definitely art. Here's the fire station, and let me tell you, it keeps on going.
This is the church.
According to what I read, they still have services and concerts sometimes. Finally, the cemetery. Even that was moved here.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether these buildings across the street are part of it, but I'm just gonna go up to the fence here and take a look. Well, I don't know whether this is part of Red Oak or just a separate property, but I mean, beautiful, beautifully maintained. It looks like this may just be someone's farm here. Well, this was very interesting to see, Red Oak 2 here. Let me see if I can just make a U right here. Now we're going to Carthage. There are several points of interest, one of which is the Civil War Museum. That one I don't think we're gonna do, just because in the spirit of brevity, you know, we know it's there. We might visit someday. But if we stop at and do like fully every single point of interest along the route, we're gonna finish in 2030. So yeah, we're just gonna see the courthouse is supposed to be very beautiful, palatial building, and there's a driving theater and a couple more things. Billy Cruiser on the road.
Now arriving in Carthage, Missouri. Here we have another old motor court with the separate individual cabins.
This is another one that has seen better days for sure. Looks like they're rebuilding it.
That one was called Red Rock Apartments from 1927. Here we are at the center of town, at the public square. And this is the historic Jasper County Courthouse from 1894. It is an impressive building, built out of locally quarried stone, and according to what I read, the second most photographed man-made site in Missouri. I would assume the Gateway Arch being the first one on that list. It replaced an earlier building built during the Civil War. It is a pretty good looking downtown. Let's do a double take and find parking. We parked right next to this mural.
Yeah, apparently one of the main points of interest here is this courthouse, which is kind of like a castle. Check it out. Let me tell you something, maybe what I smell different in the air here is not that we're in the prairies, is that it is hot. It is starting to get hot, and we're at the flying half-mast. I haven't been watching the news, I have no idea. Let's just go around this square here with the courthouse and then continue. As I said, there's a very famous Civil War museum here, but you have to pick your battles. And that one we're gonna skip for some other time.
Apparently they have a Route 66 exhibiting site, but I had no idea at the time.
See, there are thriving businesses around here.
Yeah, not everything is doom and gloom along the route.
It is a bowling alley. And here we have the Carthage City Hall. Yeah, it's got character, right? Like I say, Pelicruiser on the route. Oh, here's an explanation of what we're seeing in that mural back there.
Let's go see one more thing here in Carthage, and we continue, getting closer and closer to the Kansas state line. It is called Boots Court, another old motel. This one seems to be operational and in really good shape. Let me see where I can park Pelicruiser for a few minutes. Boots Court, and there's the neon sign. Let's step inside what would probably have been the lobby, or a small reception desk rather. From 1939, and it is in the National Registry of Historic Places. And if you want to check in, you have to go to the visitor center next door. Cool zenith. I love seeing all these antique radios, and TV sets, and old pictures. Some more radios here. Some of them clock radios, because one of the advertising slogans of the hotel was "A radio in every room."
That's a nice stereo.
It's really mono, but
Probably from the late 40s.
very well maintained. Here you would park your car and have access to your room.
Very cool to see, and this one is very well maintained. It almost has that New Mexico, like Pueblo revival architecture, if you will. And I believe it is still in operation. It certainly looks that way. Yeah, they're doing the rooms right now. Here we have the official roadside attraction sign. Built in 1939, and here of course they have the sign where you would take a selfie and prove that you were in Carthage, Missouri. Here we are. Oh, here we have an old, what is it, a Packard? Oh, it's a Ford. An old Ford police car in Carthage. I guess this is the visitor center. Let's check it out real quick. Here's the Boots Court advertisement saying that there's a radio in every room.
We must add a pin.
Very nice visitor center and gift shop. Probably an old gas station, that's what it looks like. Anyway, we must continue driving to the west. Kansas awaits.
We're going to stop real quick to see a historic house. This is the historic Phelps house, a late 19th century Victorian residence. And they have tours by appointment, but we didn't plan accordingly, so we only get to see it from the outside. Well, this was kind of a detour from the route, so let's continue. Here we are at the 66 Drive-In Theater, which dates back to 1949. Let's stop for a little bit.
Dirty Dancing and Grease. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Well, let's see if we can go in or get close and see what it looks like. Well, I see a no trespassing sign, but let's see what the prices are here. There you go. $10, 13 or older. 5 for kids. 16.5 stereophonic FM sound. One of these days we'll watch a movie at one of these, just for nostalgia's sake.
Coming up next here on the right, the Route 66 Heroes Museum, which seems to be closed at the time of our visit here, but I want to see the Freedom Monument they have on the premises here. Here we are. The monument is a tribute to all the men and women who have and are fighting for our country to preserve our freedom. And here we have a mural. Here's another old stretch of road. Next town, Carterville. Who wants some ice cream? Well, here we have a small ice cream parlor called Supertam on 66.
Well, here we are, another roadside attraction on the route. This one is Supertam on Route 66, ice cream parlor. Let's not get run over and check it out. We're in Carterville, Missouri. Almost in Kansas, huh? And this one is known for their collection of over 2,500 items celebrating the Man of Steel. Opened in 2006. So yeah, not exactly from the 1940s or 1930s, but you know, the newer attractions are also good, right? All right.
Well, yeah, that's quite the collection.
Cool.
Very impressive.
What's this one called? Exhausted Parent.
Bourbon Spiked Espresso. Oh yeah.
Huge collection of Superman stuff here. In the nick of time, timing is everything. There's a huge field trip now coming in. I'm gonna share this with Illy.
now arriving at a town called Webb City. Here we have a mural and a pretty good looking downtown overall. Most of these buildings date back to the late 1800s. Here we have the Route 66 Theater on the right, which we probably should have stopped, but at this point on the trip we realize we're not gonna see everything. Not only because we can't, but at this point we're a little burned out with the route. It's been 2 weeks, but it feels like 2 months, and for you it's probably been even longer. I think in order to fully appreciate the route, at least in these eastern states with so much to see, you have to do it one state at a time. We're definitely doing it wrong, trying to encompass too much. Here we have the Praying Hands Memorial, built in the early 1970s. Going back to Route 66, and here on the left, we have another look at the Route 66 Theater from 1928. Coming up next, our last city in Missouri, and a pretty big one at that. We're going into Joplin. Here we are. We've got some murals, and parking might be a challenge here with Pelicruiser. I don't see two adjacent parallel sites. I mean, there's gonna be a surface lot somewhere around here. Yep, this is going to work. We are at the Joplin Mural Park, and here they have a Route 66 mural. This mural depicts some of the area's attractions. Route 66. I mean, we're getting there. We still have a long way to go, but we're getting there. Different vehicle though. Route 66. Centennial, baby, next year. At the turn of the 20th century, Joplin was a booming town with saloons, brothels, and gambling halls. Joplin was also where famous outlaws Bonnie and Clyde lived and robbed several businesses in 1933. And while there is a museum in town with photos and items they left in their apartment when they fled the town, we're gonna stop by the actual apartment really quick. Here's the interpretive sign and the historic building, which looks suspiciously modern for 1933. What do you guys think? Maybe it's being renovated. Yeah, Bonnie and Clyde, no real place to stop here, so we're gonna continue. And we're gonna take a detour from the route. Well, it turns out that we are very close to the very spot where 3 states converge: Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma. And I love these geographical curiosities, so I figured, why not? It is pretty out of the way, but I think it might be worth it. Well, this was a little bit of a detour, but you know I like these geographical curiosities. And I don't know if it's there or here, but this is the very spot where Missouri, where we've been, Kansas, where we're going, and Missouri, where we've been, Kansas, and Oklahoma meet at one point. The tri-state marker, I think this is it. So, maybe that's it. It would be cool if I could stand in 3 states at the same time, right? Let's see what this says. Here we go. You're supposed to do it from here. Boundary marker. Here we go. Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri. And we are now standing in 3 states at the same time, more or less. The point was established in 1857. So yeah, standing in 3 states at the same time. That's pretty cool. Other than that, I mean, there's nothing to the place, just that marker and this other monument here.
lots of graffiti on the monument. But here it is. Let's face it, that was a little bit anticlimactic, but I'm still glad we drove the extra 10 minutes to get here.
We've got one more thing in Missouri, and after so many historic buildings and gas stations, how about some nature? And it turns out they have some great waterfalls here close by. It is called Grand Falls. This is it. Let's find parking. Oh, right here.
Well, this has nothing to do with Route 66, but this is supposed to be the largest continuously flowing natural waterfall in the whole state of Missouri, the Show Me State. Let's check it out.
There are not too many people, and I'm kind of tempted to dip my feet in the water, although it is probably cold. I am glad we're ending our time here in Missouri with some nature, because I have a feeling the farther west we go, the more natural beauty we're going to see. In fact, I'm certain of it.
Well, not the tallest waterfalls we've ever seen, but very nice. And you know, I needed a break from Route 66, see something natural like this. I'm very tempted to put on my bathing suit, but I'm not gonna do it. But I think today is the first truly hot day we've had in a while. So summer is coming quickly here in the Midwest. And it's gonna get hotter. It's only gonna get hotter, so.
So we've completed 2 states along the route. We've got 6 to go, which puts us at about a quarter of the way, although in reality it is more like a third, because Kansas is only 13 miles, and Texas and California are not really that long or dense with points of interest. That being said, as I mentioned earlier, we're a little burnt out. It's been only 2 weeks of travel time, but it's felt like 2 months, and for you on YouTube time, it's been over 3, so we're gonna take a break from the route, go a little more current with the videos, and in a few weeks we'll resume and finish the Mother Road properly. Until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road.